Colonel Arbuthnot, I do not believe we've been properly introduced.
I expect the formalities must be winked at in a case like this, mademoiselle. The attendant told me you are acting on the Frog Detective's behalf.
I am the Frog, monsieur. Hercule Poirot is Belgian.
Apologies, no offense meant. Your accent's a bit of mid-channel, difficult to pick up.
May I have your passport, please?
Of course.
Colonel Francis Gordon Arbuthnot, the Mews, Cheltenham, Royal Northumberland Fusiliers, currently stationed in India.
Yes, on leave.
But you're not travelling on the P&O boat? Why not?
I stopped in Baghdad with the AOC, who happens to be a good friend of mine.
Where did you meet Mademoiselle Debenham?
Miss Debenham? What, in Baghdad, if you must know.
And your opinion of her?
You can take it from me, she's all right. A puka sahib.
Can you give me an account of your movements last night?
Yes, I think I can. After dinner, I had a drink in the salon car with young McQueen, the dead man's secretary. Surprisingly knowledgeable about world affairs for an American, even if he had got hold of some tomfool ideas about India. We adjourned to his compartment, let me see, around 2100. That's 9 p.m. You saw us in the Belgrade station courtyard. We stepped out for a bit of fresh air, but with the weather turning foul, that wasn't on.
What do you and Monsieur McQueen smoke?
McQueen doesn't, now that I think of it. A pipe's my weapon of choice.
What happened after Belgrade?
Around 2200, that's 10 p.m. Ratchet's valet came to fetch him for his employer. He went off for a while.
And what did you do after Monsieur McQueen left you?
Well, I went back to the salon car for a nightcap, didn't I? I was heading to my compartment when I ran into McQueen. Went off back to his room again to continue the natter. I put him straight on India. Learned a bit about the American stock market. Bloody fool's game, if you ask me. Oh, pardon that is to say, my language.
Do not concern yourself.
There, you see. Now I can hear the accent. It comes and goes.
What time did your discussion of world affairs end?
The conversation was so engrossing, by the time I looked at my watch it was 1:45. McQueen called the attendant to make up his bed. I came back here.
Did anyone pass Monsieur McQueen's room while you were talking?
A good many people, I should think. I wasn't paying attention. The attendant did at one point, and I think I caught a glimpse of you wandering about.
Let us say during the last hour of your conversation.
Really, I can't.
Colonel, you have the soldier's observation for detail.
Hang on. There was a woman, I think.
Was this woman young or old?
Didn't see her, wasn't looking that way, just a rustle in a scent.
Mademoiselle Debenham?
No, I'd recognize. That is to say, it wasn't. No, it was very strong. Fruit or something.
Can you pinpoint the time the woman passed? What were you discussing?
Let's see, I was detailing the other washout. Stalin's 5-year plan was turning out. It must have been within the last half hour. More definite than that, I can't say.
Have you ever been in America?
Never. Don't want to go.
Did you ever know a Colonel Armstrong?
Armstrong. I've known 2 or 3 Armstrongs. Selby Armstrong. He was killed on the Somme.
I mean the Colonel Armstrong who married an American woman and whose only child was kidnapped and murdered.
Ah, yes. I remember reading about that. Shocking affair. Never actually came across the fellow, but his name came up in the officers' mess, of course. Toby Armstrong. Nice fellow. Everybody liked him. Distinguished career, got the VC, Victoria Cross.
The man who was killed last night was the man responsible for the murder of Colonel Armstrong's child.
Then in my opinion the swine got what he deserved, though I would have preferred to see him properly hanged, or electrocuted, or whatever it is they do over there. Trial by 12 good men and true. Sound system.
Anything you can recall from last night that strikes you as suspicious?
There was one odd thing.
Yes?
As I got back to my compartment, I noticed that the door of the one beyond mine, number 16, well, it wasn't quite closed. The chap inside peered out in a rather furtive sort of way, then quickly pulled the door. Probably nothing in it, but you know what it is. Early hours of the morning, everything very still. The thing had a sinister look, like a detective story.
Thank you, Colonel Arbuthnot.
Not at all. Now, if you don't mind, I think I'll pop along to the salon car.
Don't let me keep you.
You mean to say you intend to stay in my compartment?
Yes.
And search through my belongings?
I'm sorry, but I really must.
But it just isn't. That's bloody irregular, pardon my French. Well, had a good rummage through my kit, I expect?
Yes, thank you. There is still some information I think you might be able to give us.
Indeed? I hardly think so.
Is that pipe cleaner one of yours?
Don't know. I don't have them monogrammed.
You are the only passenger aboard this train who smokes a pipe.
How extraordinarily fascinating.
That pipe cleaner was found by the body of the murdered man.
And what does the amateur detective deduce from that?
Can you tell me how the pipe cleaner came to be in Monsieur Ratchet's compartment?
Haven't a clue.
Did you go into Monsieur Ratchet's compartment at any time?
I've never even spoken to the man.
You never spoke to him, and you did not murder him.
If I had, I should hardly be likely to acquaint you with the fact.
Ah, well, it is of no consequence.
Oh?
Monsieur Poirot has told me he can think of 11 excellent explanations of its presence. Not now, when it's all over, when it's behind us.
Is that a quote?
Mademoiselle Debenham said those words to you at Sakeki Station in Istanbul. Tell me to what those words referred.
Why don't you ask Miss Debenham?
I have.
And she refused to tell you?
Yes, she told me that they referred to a private matter of her own.
Then I should accept her word for it, if I were you.
I will.
You have nothing whatever against her.
I'm sorry, but you're wrong. We know that Mademoiselle Debenham was governess in the Armstrong household at the time Daisy Armstrong was kidnapped.
The devil, you say?
If Mademoiselle Debenham is innocent, why did she conceal the fact?
I have no idea, but your suspicions are utter rot.
Why did Mademoiselle Debenham tell me she had never been to America?
You better ask her. I still think you are wrong. You're making a serious mistake.
I think it is you, Colonel, who have made the mistake.
I will not answer any more of your ridiculous questions. This is all nonsense. You'll not get another word out of me. See here, what do you think you're playing at?
I'm comparing your shoes to a cast I made of a footprint.
Oh? And where did you find this footprint?
Outside Monsieur Ratchet's window.
Oh, well, carry on then.
Au revoir, monsieur. Thank you, Colonel. That will do for now, Colonel. Good day, monsieur. Good evening, monsieur.
I'm not in the mood to talk at the moment. Why don't you go bother someone else? I'm thinking. Please, leave me alone for the moment.
I will take your fingerprints now.
Will you, by Jove? Well, get on with it then.